Step back to a time when everyday habits could spark a witch hunt. In the Middle Ages, superstition ruled and logic barely whispered. Here are 10 ordinary quirks that might have gotten you branded a servant of the devil. Number 1. Strange spots and birthmarks. Picture bending down to gather vegetables when a neighbor spots a dark mole on your arm. In the 1400s, that wasn't just a freckle, it was the devil's mark, proof you'd signed a pact with evil. Witch hunters prowled towns looking for these telltale spots and carried special needles to test them. If the mark didn't hurt when pricked, you were declared guilty. Some hunters even used retractable needles so the poke never reached your skin, guaranteeing a false result. Protest too much and you were accused of lying. Stay calm and they called it supernatural numbness. No matter how you reacted, the verdict was the same, guilty. Something as harmless as a birthmark, maybe the one you've had since childhood, could land you in a dungeon. Today it's a conversation starter at a dermatologist's office. Back then, it was your one-way ticket to a torchlit trial you couldn't win. Number 2. Midnight strolls while asleep. Sleepwalking today is a quirky sleep disorder, but in the Middle Ages it screamed, witch. Imagine wandering through a silent village under a moonlit sky, eyes shut, muttering gibberish while neighbors peeked from their shutters. They didn't see a harmless dreamer, they saw someone holding secret meetings with spirits. If the baker's oven collapsed or a cow went dry the next morning, your nighttime wanderings became instant evidence. Doctors didn't yet understand REM cycles or parasomnias, so superstition filled the gap. Parents warned children to bolt the doors to keep night witches from roaming. Even harmless murmurs during sleep could be twisted into proof you were chanting spells. One unlucky stroll could turn your sweet dreams into a nightmare, and you'd wake up not in bed, but in front of a crowd eager for a confession you'd never give. Number 3. Whistling the wrong tune. You might whistle a tune to fight boredom, but in the 15th century, you were practically summoning a storm. Villagers believed certain melodies could stir fierce winds, spoil fresh milk, or rouse the dead. Whistling near sacred groves meant you were hosting a meeting with fellow witches. Passing a graveyard while humming? Clearly you were waking restless spirits. Even inside a church, a playful trill was an invitation for evil. Some tales claimed particular notes could speak to animals, so if a curious cow wandered your way mid-whistle, congratulations, you'd just proven your power to command beasts. What we call a catchy melody was, to medieval ears, a dark incantation. A simple habit to keep your spirits up might have you dragged to the village square, accused of raising storms or talking to ghosts. The next time you whistle a favorite song, be glad no one's sharpening stakes nearby. Number 4. Being a lefty. Left-handedness was practically a crime. The very word, sinister, comes from the Latin for left, and medieval people took that seriously. If you favored your left hand, neighbors whispered that the devil himself guided your movements. Courts often refused left-handed testimony, believing evil spirits twisted your words. Imagine signing a contract or swearing an oath, only for a judge to dismiss it as demonic trickery. Parents sometimes tied children's left arms to force right-handedness, fearing they'd otherwise fall under Satan's spell. Everyday tasks became dangerous tells, stirring a pot counterclockwise, writing with the wrong hand, even greeting someone with your left could invite accusations. Today lefties endure smudged notebooks and awkward scissors. Back then, they faced prison, or worse, for something they couldn't change. The simple act of reaching for bread with the devil's hand was enough to turn supper into a trial. Number 5. Yawning without protection. Today a yawn means you need coffee. In the plague-ridden Middle Ages, it signaled something darker. People believed a wide-open mouth gave demons a doorway to slip in and snatch your soul. Because excessive yawning was also a plague symptom, villagers connected it to death itself. The solution? Every yawn required a quick sign of the cross over your mouth, a spiritual lock on the door. Forget to do it, and suspicious eyes followed you, convinced you'd invited something evil. Parents even raced to cross infants' mouths when they yawned, fearing tiny souls might escape. A simple stretch after a long day could spark whispers of possession. Imagine trying to stay polite during a dull sermon while stifling every yawn like your life depended on it. Because in your neighbors' minds, it truly did. Number 6. Loving cats, especially black ones. Owning a cat today makes you a pet lover. In the Middle Ages, it branded you a devil's accomplice. Cats' glowing eyes and midnight prowls unsettled villagers, and black cats seemed particularly suspicious. Neighbors claimed these animals were witches' familiars, supernatural helpers that carried messages to dark forces. Women who kept several cats were obvious targets, especially if their feline friends occasionally stared or hissed at passers-by. The tragic irony? Cats helped control rats that spread the plague, but reason lost to fear. A simple evening of brushing your purring companion could be twisted into evidence of secret rituals. Each meow became a hidden chant, each flick of a tail a coded signal to the underworld. Loving a cat might bring comfort now, but centuries ago it could bring the angry mob to your door. Number 7. When a cat sneezed near you. As if owning a cat wasn't risky enough, a single feline sneeze could ruin you. Medieval villagers believed cats were the devil's favorite messengers, and a sneeze was thought to be a private signal to their chosen humans. If a cat happened to sneeze near you and misfortune struck the village the next day, a sick horse, a ruined crop, you were the natural culprit. People swore the sneeze meant the animal had spoken your name to the dark realm. No amount of protest mattered. Coincidence was proof enough. Imagine walking through the market when a stray cat lets out a tiny achoo, and suddenly you're the main suspect for every bad omen in town. Blessing the cat wouldn't save you. In a world where superstition ruled, one sneeze from a whiskered stranger could seal your fate. Number 8. Brewing your own beer. Homebrewing now is a hip hobby. In the Middle Ages, it was practically witchcraft, especially for women. Most village beer came from female brewers, and a particularly tasty batch stirred jealous tongues. Your bubbling pot, long stirring stick, and helpful cats chasing mice looked suspiciously like the props of a spellcaster. If your ale gained sudden popularity, competitors might whisper that you chanted over the kettle or added unholy herbs. The term brewster once meant respectable craftswoman. It could quickly shift to sorceress when envy brewed. Ironically, brewing required real science, careful timing, yeast control, temperature awareness, skills your neighbors didn't understand. That ignorance turned skill into sorcery. Your reward for perfecting fermentation? Accusations, not applause. Number 9. Making perfect cheese every time. Consistently good cheese sounds delicious, but in the Middle Ages it was suspicious. Without knowledge of bacteria or fermentation, villagers couldn't explain why one person's wheels were always creamy and rich while others churned out rubbery bricks. Whispers spread that successful cheesemakers stole quality from their neighbors' milk through dark magic. If your dairy never spoiled, you were accused of charming the curds. A perfectly aged wheel wasn't culinary art, it was evidence of a curse. Neighbors believed witches could transfer the virtue of one batch to another with a single spell. Excellence invited envy, and envy invited accusation. One flawless feast could transform your reputation from skilled artisan to village villain overnight. Number 10. Collecting double-yolk eggs. Today, a double-yolk egg is a fun breakfast surprise. In the 16th century, it was a bad omen. Farmers thought such eggs were unnatural gifts of the devil or ingredients for powerful spells. If your hens laid them regularly, neighbors claimed you'd bewitched the flock. People feared that eating the egg would invite misfortune or that you used it in midnight rituals. Even finding one by accident could bring unwanted attention. Villagers might dig through your coop, certain they'd uncover other signs. A morning omelet became a courtroom exhibit, proof that you meddled with forces best left alone. What we now see as a lucky extra serving was once a reason to light the torches. And there you have it, 10 perfectly normal habits that once spelled disaster. Be thankful your cat sneeze or your flawless cheese only earns likes on social media today. For more bizarre history that makes you grateful for modern life, hit that subscribe button and stay curious.